kind of go-to session or a favorite of ours. And it's just the team would be just around attack and play. So it's kind of 1v1s and then some combinations and stuff in it as well. So it'll be for 1 hour. We have 16 players in the squad. Sometimes you could be missing just for the perfect numbers for this, 14 players will do. But I think as I go through it, you see the beauty of this session is you can adapt it to any numbers really. And it's flexible and you can adapt it to attacking plays, defensive play, working on press and cover. It could be working on shots, quick play. It covers a lot of things, I think. And a lot of the time not a lot of the time, every now and again, we would say to the players when they turn up, right, guys, you guys are in charge tonight. What do you want us to do? And they have a chat and come back and we put a session on. And normally some of this will be they'll ask for this. So when they come back and say they want that in the session, they enjoy it. And and like say for instance, like that game that we had a couple of weeks ago, that was a disaster, 9-1. Instead of being all doom and gloom, like the next session we come back, we're positive and we do some of this, and it's just this is what we're good at. We want to have lads comfortable on the ball. We want to have lads playing. We want to play out from the back. We want to get back to.
Remember the days you were beaten 9-1 and you'd be sent on laps of the pitch for the
Yeah,
punishment. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a far cry from that.
yeah. So yeah, look, we say we kind of spoke about it and we parked it and we moved
Mm.
on. And in fairness, the lads bounced back from it after that. But say for us, we just do like say a 10-minute warm up, and that would include we do activation bands just to get the lads moving and get the muscles activated, and then we'd have a ball between two, so we just do 1 and 2 touch, really just for a few minutes, and using all areas of the foot, outside the foot, inside the foot, sole of the foot, whatever it is, keep you uppies between the two, bit of short. I think they might be 3 or 4 yards apart, short pass, and then moving it out, long pass, and just to get them loads and loads of touches on the ball, because like that, as you said, from the start, from when I started with them, I don't think we've ever just done a warm up where they're running around the pitch without a ball. Like a lot of the time, you only have an hour for a session, so you do the warm up with the ball. Everything is with the ball as much as we can, as many touches as we
Yeah.
can, with the ball included in the warm up, and that will get them ready for the
By the
session.
way, and I don't want to go off on a tangent with your session, but I sometimes don't mind the lads running together in a warm up because they can have their chats and their catch up with each other better in that way than when they're knocking a ball around. You know what I mean? If they're not,
Yeah.
give them that time maybe before the session to catch up with each other, but it is a way where they can catch up and do the warm up.
Yeah. We
Anyway.
tend to try and get there
Mm,
15, 20 minutes before the session. So the lads used to come in. If we were the first ones on the pitch up in Home Farm on the
mm,
Astro, so they can boot the balls around, have
right.
crossbar challenge,
Yeah.
penalties, shoot the breeze about the match last night or whatever's
Mm.
going on. And then once we call them
And
in,
that is important,
yes,
particularly like I'm sure in lots of clubs you have your hour and you need to get on your hour and you don't really
yeah,
have that time. So if you can find somewhere
yeah,
before you go on where they can do that, I think it's really useful. Yeah.
yeah, no, absolutely. And Home Farm is good now with the players' room up there as well, and there's a
Mm.
foosball table in there. And sometimes we meet beforehand and go through, do a bit of analysis with the VAO. But the
Yeah.
lads would be in there playing the foosball and having the crack,
Yeah, it's
before
good
we
to
get
give them
into it,
that time
So
together. Yeah. Not to forget that that's important. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Because Paul mentioned it earlier about the camaraderie and
Mm.
friendships build up
Yeah.
and everything, and that's all part of it.
Sure.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
very little enough contact time with them anyway, so
Mm.
yeah, make the most of it when they're there. Um, but then from that, then we go into this 1v1 game with transitions. I have a little animation for that. I'll go into it. I can show you that
Mm.
after. From there, then into so you'd have 3 teams of four, 4v4v4, and we have 2 keepers. So you'd have the 2 keepers. You'd have a 4v4 with 4 on the outside, and we'd rotate through that. If you score, the team that scores stays on. The other team goes out. If you shoot and it goes wide, you're off. The other 4 comes in. So it's just quick transitions. It's sharp. It's 18 by 20 pitch. It's tight enough. So it just flows. It's moving. There's loads of touch on the ball, loads of shots. Again, as I say, when you're in that, you could be working on attack and play, little 1-2s, shooting.
Sorry, I know you're going to show it, but the 4v4 V4, is that the four that are sitting out ready to come
Yeah,
in?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay,
So
yeah,
there's
yeah.
three teams of four.
Yeah, gotcha,
So
yeah.
it's a 4v4 and at one time four outside.
Yeah,
But the four outside lads are positioned each side of the goal, so they're involved in the game as
sure.
well,
Okay, gotcha,
all
yeah.
the time. And then you see we've kind of finished in with a game for could be 15 minutes, could be less. Sometimes they might want some of them to go on a bit longer. Sometimes they go,
Yeah.
no, we're going into this, we need to do this, or sometimes they might
And
just
in
let
the
them.
game, right, do you, because I'd imagine most teams finish with a game, do you go in and are you looking for some of the things they've worked on, or is there a point where you just go, just let them play and stop
Just let them
trying to
play.
fix things?
Yeah, we just let them play. My coaching style would tend to be just coaching the breaks. Sometimes it might
Mm,
stop, but say this, like say the 4v4 when we go into that 20 minutes, you might play for 7 or 8 minutes, just leave it flow and then stop and then have a drink. And then we break it down for a minute and a half and go, right, lads, what are we looking at? What are we focusing on? If it's the attack and play, what's working? Can we do a bit more of this or that? Then go back in, just let them play.
mm,
We really tend not to stop it because it's
And
just how I
Ollie,
like it.
do you put, and I don't want to use the term restrictions, but do you put some kind of guide, rules, one touch, two touch, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's just I was just going to say when you
Mm,
go into it, yeah, you can do.
mm,
Sometimes we don't, we just let it, but you can go like if we're focusing on 1v1s and getting at players and attacking, you can go, there's no back passes to the keeper. So they have to
have to
look
go
forward.
forward, yeah.
They have to
Yeah.
take someone on.
Mm.
And they say the two guys stationed either side of the goal. You look forward. Can we play that forward pass to play it into that outside man and then
Mm.
make the run off that to get it back?
And
So there's
do you incentivize those things, or do you penalize, say, going backwards or anything, or just
no,
leave them
say if,
guidelines?
yeah, no, say like you might be you can't back pass to the keeper or back pass to the two guys on the outside that are the goals
Yeah.
kind of you're
Mm.
defending. If they do that, you lose possession. So the keeper the other
Okay.
side gets it
Yeah.
and just throws it out quick and it's really quick. And even the transitions, the four comes in, we just give them a couple of seconds to get in, so it's not strolling in, get
Mm.
set, and then we play. I want it nice and sharp, nice and quick, up tempo, upbeat.
Yeah.
They're having a bit of crack and a bit of banter and stuff
Sure.
with you as well and all. And it just there's a good flow to it normally, and the lads love it, and it just keeps them positive,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
And so that's what we tend to just coach in the breaks. The odd time I might step in unless I see something that we really working that
Mm.
we really need to nail. But in general, just let them play, let it flow, and break it down in the break then for a
Yeah.
minute and a half, and back into it.
And if like sometimes you kind of want to get in and fix it, would you be, you said you were kind of saying you're not necessarily a note taker, but would you be taking a mental note to work on those things the following week? Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'd reflect on sessions as well. Yeah,
Mm.
I'd write notes sometimes on the phone after when they're fresh in your mind to go,
Yeah.
that didn't work or that or we need to do that. And even self-reflection going, did I get the point across to them
Mm.
of what we were really looking for? And did I break it down enough for them? I said the
Because
language
sometimes
we
it is
use and all that.
frustrating, you know what I mean? Because you're
Yeah.
still thinking it's not working the way you were hoping it would work, but you
Yeah.
have to kind of put a longer lens on it and go, I can still try and fix that next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not always a quick fix.
Yeah, and then back to what I was maybe talking about at the start, if it's a 2 week block,
Mm.
then you're giving yourself that leeway to go, well, this is what we're focusing on for 2 weeks, or it could be 3 weeks, or sometimes you might think, actually, we need a little bit more work on that. And you might just go, we'll do that for another week or another session or whatever. So you're
Mm.
giving yourself that leeway to go, yeah, we can build up into this. Like they haven't got it, it's not flowing the way. And so sometimes the sessions won't go well, they won't. And that's learning for
Do you ever
us.
just on those blocks that just come into my head here? Do you communicate that to parents in terms of trying to manage expectations at all?
Um, we don't communicate the blocks as we go through. We met the parents at the start of the season and we showed them the template of what we're working off. Here's the blocks. Here's we're working from these dates,
Mm.
and we shared that with them. As we go
Right.
through it, we
Mm.
don't communicate to go, this block we're working on playing out from the back, or
Mm.
this block we're working on the middle third of the field, that combination play between the three midfielders, or trying to
Yeah.
get the ball wide or whatever. We just show them it at the start of the season and say we are working to a plan here. let's not just turn up and we're throwing sessions on willy-nilly.
Mm. Because we were beaten last weekend and a parent, and he's a lovely guy, and he didn't mean anything by it, but he said to me, oh, the lads will really need to be picked up next week in training because they were beaten. And I
Yeah,
kind of said to him, they won't, because they come in always with a great attitude, win, lose, or draw into training, you know. So
yeah,
sometimes when they don't see that, you know what I mean, they don't have an insight into what it's really like. They have these assumptions of, they've been beaten a couple of times, so they're going to be down or whatever,
yeah,
but they're not.
yeah.
You know what I mean? My lads bounce back very well. Mm,
Yeah, and that could come from you. That comes from being
mm,
upbeat and being say it's a true respect. Like players can have down days and they might be 5 or 6 out of 10 on certain days. As
mm.
a coach, you need to be 9 out of 10 or 10, as in
True.
attitude and everything when you're turning up because the lads will feed off that. If you're not up and the tempo's up and you're not, positive and all coming
Mm,
in, they're going to go, "Hey, he's not at it tonight or why,
yeah.
So
True.
you
Yeah.
have to be at it all the time. So this is just that transition game. So as you can see there, it's just like one v ones. So start off,
Sorry, I
you can
had in
see
my
the guy in
head that it
red.
was
Yeah.
they were in groups of two, but they're not. So it's not necessarily groups of two. They're in groups of
No, it's
yeah.
just one behind. But
Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, and no, again, this flow, no matter what numbers you have, and normally I don't
Mm,
like lads standing in lines, but this flows really
yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
and there it goes. So you see, one red starts off unopposed just to get it going up. You have to dribble the ball up to there where the red markers are, and you have to go inside that to score. The minute they score or they shoot to try and score, they have to transition across to stop. So
Oh,
when the
yeah, yeah. I
red
do
guy,
something like that with the big goals. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, yeah. Very good.
yeah,
Ollie,
yeah, the
Ollie,
blue,
by the way,
the
I
blue.
can see how you get beaten. Can see how you got beaten 9-1. Your lads are very slow.
Yeah, we'd have to work on that, Paul.
You have to work on pace.
um, but
Very
yeah,
good.
so it's
Yeah.
fairly simple. The red guy out gets inside, knock it into the goal, comes across. As soon as he shoots, the guy in blue is dribbling out. So the red guy comes across, try and tax him.
Yeah.
I like them to get 1v1s if they can, so they're getting across quick. So it's 1v1, so they have to do a bit in the ball to try and score. And it goes red to blue, fairly quickly and fairly lively. And the lads really enjoy it. And I think it just works really well that there's a flow to it. Our defending isn't great there either, Paul, is it? Look, he's got his back
Yeah.
turned. So
When
but
I was with a League of Ireland club for a short while, and they used to love the kind of an adaptation of that with the two big goals, proper 11-a-side goals at each end, doing a very, very similar shoot
yeah.
and recover. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's quite like we might do that for 3 minutes and they get loads of reps, and then we give them a little
Mm.
break and we do another 3 minutes, give
Yeah.
them a little break. And again, they might go, "Oh, can we do that again?" We might just throw
The
two
the
minutes in as
timing
well.
the
Yeah,
timing of the if you want to call it the second player going, because the first player obviously is a free go if you like.
yeah,
The timing is, I presume, over time it fixes itself if you like, because it is because the timing
yeah,
needs to be so they get back to
yeah. But
defend. I
but you know
presume it's
what?
when the shot goes off, is it that?
Yeah, as soon as he gets in to shoot, once he shoots, he's
Mm.
gone across, and then the blue goes.
Yeah, but
Once the blue,
when's the trigger for the blue to go?
when the red shoots,
So okay, so on
yeah,
the player shooting, the other player
yeah.
can
So
go
then
then.
the red gets across the blue.
Yeah.
They're trying to attack 1v1. If the red
Mm.
isn't there and the blue is in the shooting zone, just shoot. Don't
Yeah.
wait for him.
It's a great one too for the player, and we've probably all done it, that admires particularly if you use the big goals, when you're
Yeah,
admiring the shot into the top corner and
yeah,
you're getting to react,
absolutely.
to transition to defend or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and normally we don't do transitions as a topic, but we build them in. So if we're attacking, we have a transition to defend element into it, or if we're defending, you build in transition to attack element in that as well. So, yeah, and I really like that, and I just think it gets them buzzing. And like that, you're saying, what's the trigger to go? Some fellas are going early,
Mm.
and it's all, he's cheating, he's going too soon, and all that, and he's getting a
I
shot in
know.
before I can get across, and you just,
I used to use it, Ollie, as a sprint drill as well, because
yeah,
that recovery run very much realistic to the game, is meant to be full tilt. You know what I mean? Trying to
Yeah,
recover back to get into a defensive situation. So there's
yeah,
lots of benefits from it, whether it's
yeah.
technical, tactical, and
Tactical.
physical.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bit of everything in it, and they're saying, look, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable watching it, and
Yeah,
they're doing their
but you want
bit.
to you want to get in yourself, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, and they're doing their 1v1s and trying to, get one over their mate, and also,
Just before I share my one, what's your view on getting in to the session? Because I do it the odd time, not as much as I used to, but I sometimes think you can get a lot out of being in amongst them and you can see things differently.
yeah, I would step in every now and again. Sometimes, if you want to keep the tempo up and you want to keep
Mm,
them at it, I would step into certain things. Obviously, if the numbers, you might have a team that's down
mm,
a man or something, I might go in and go, I'm on two touch. But you can just, I like being in it sometimes, and you
mm.
can see things, and you can do a bit in the flow, like saying, Paul, you need to keep an eye over your shoulder,
Yeah.
like keep scanning, be aware when you're in there next to him, and you can just sometimes keep the tempo up, especially with the lads at the age they're at now. We don't like seeing coaches in with younger lads and going, oh, they're on the ball and they're on, going,
Oh, well,
oh,
yeah, you're trying to hit the top corner and
yeah,
to show
yeah, yeah,
off your what
yeah.
you were
And
able to do
and
back in the day.
sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes you might step in goal or you might step in at the back. And certain
Mm,
times we might be working on our striker, holding the ball in and holding off the centre back. So something I go in, and even at times if that ball, I'll knock it into the centre forward just to give him that practice and rep of
mm.
take the ball in, hold it in, and lay it off. And you're purposely doing things when if you're in the game to go, this is stuff that we've spoke to this lad about or whatever,
Yeah.
and you can see it in the game and you can go, here's an opportunity for him to learn and to do it.
Oh, would you be that kind? Would you step in every now and again into
Oh,
the
geez,
game itself?
I couldn't help myself sometimes with
Yeah.
sessions. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, come here. There's a time and a place, I suppose.
Yeah,
Ollie, what I was just going to say to you as well, sometimes when you jump in with one of the teams, shall we say, it's fantastic to actually give you information on the other team, it's still part of your squad, obviously, because you're actually moving into positions and you can see maybe where defenders are getting maybe drawn across towards the ball. You're
yeah,
holding yourself because it's just pure experience. You know where to be, and
yeah,
they're pulling across just to pull a player back out. No, 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 come here. You come back out. Look where I am. Look where you
yeah,
are. So sometimes it's very beneficial for to coach the other team and not the team you're playing on. So
yeah,
it's a holistic approach to it.
yeah, yeah. No, I say there is I think you're right, a time and a place that
Mm.
you're doing
Yeah.
it every session and stepping in and taking from the lads and all, like, when say, not running down the pitch beating three or four of them, like, I say getting on it and going, or
Ollie, I
if
think
you
that
want.
there probably is, with all due respect to Paul Smith, there probably is a difference in ability here playing wise. So whilst you might be able to do that still, I know I couldn't. Not sure about you, Paul, whether you could go down the line past three or four of them
It
and pick
depends
a
on their ages, I suppose. The under sixes, maybe I might have a chance. The underage could be a struggle. But no, I think there's a time and a place. But for me as well, anytime you got in to do anything, it probably was seconds rather than minutes.
Yeah,
As in it could be 90 seconds, a minute and a half, as opposed to staying in there for 5 and 10 and 15 minutes. So you were going in to reiterate a coaching point, or you were going in because, as Ollie said, the tempo had dropped and you want to get it back up again.
Mm,
And by the way, you say about going by, could you go by a couple of people and whatever? Sometimes it's your voice and it's your coaching within that 90 seconds within the group. It's the tone that you use in the voice. Actually, the tempo goes way up.
yeah,
And they become a little bit more alert
yeah,
to it
no,
because
absolutely,
you're
yeah.
yeah,
wakening them up a little bit with the tone of your voice.
yeah,
Sometimes it doesn't have to be actual instruction. It can
yeah,
be you going in and using the tone of your voice to
yeah.
get to reinforce and reiterate the coaching points.